Today we're going to break down the latest numbers from a company that, you might not have heard of, but I guarantee their products are absolutely essential to modern science and industry. So let's get right into Mettler Toledo's Q4 2025 performance. Just think about it. From the lab that's developing the next life-saving drug to the factory floor making sure your food is safe, Mettler Toledo's precision instruments are kind of the invisible engines making it all happen. Their tools are critical, and honestly, their financial health can tell us a whole lot about the state of global innovation. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll get to know Mettler Toledo a bit better. Then, we'll hit the key highlights from Q4, break down what's really driving their growth, see what they're forecasting, and then we'll wrap it all up with the big picture takeaway. Okay, so before we dive headfirst into all the numbers, let's just take a quick second to understand what makes this company such a powerhouse in its field. Look, Mettler Toledo isn't just a player here. They are the leader. We're talking about the #1 market position in most of the things they do. Their instruments are completely indispensable for everything from R&D to quality control, and they're serving massive industries like life sciences, food, and chemicals in over 140 countries. That's some serious global reach. And this really shows you the sheer range of what they do. I mean, on one hand, you've got these super complex, automated lab systems. And on the other, you have these incredibly precise, handheld electronic pipettes. They're literally involved at every single scale of the scientific process. All right, let's get to the main event, the fourth quarter financials. So what story are these numbers really telling us? The company's CEO, Patrick Kaltenbach, really set a positive tone right out of the gate. And as you're about to see, the results totally back him up. He mentioned broad-based growth, which is exactly what you want to hear. It's a huge signal of a healthy, diversified business. So, let's start at the top. In local currency, which basically just strips out the weird effects of currency exchange rates, sales were up a really solid 5% compared to the same time last year. That is a very strong finish to 2025. Now for the bottom line, which is a key way to measure how profitable they are. The company delivered an impressive adjusted earnings per share of $13.36. And here's the kicker. Not only was the number itself really strong, but it's also an 8% jump from the year before. This tells us they aren't just selling more stuff. They're actually getting more efficient and more profitable while doing it. That's a huge win. And just a real quick note on that term, Adjusted EPS. All it means is that it's a way for companies to show their real underlying profitability. It kind of cuts through the noise of any one-time expenses or events to give you a clearer picture of how the core business is performing day to day. Okay, so a 5% sales growth, that's a great headline. But where did it actually come from? Let's peel back the layers a bit and see what's really driving things. Remember what the CEO said, that the growth was broad-based? Well, this map of their global footprint shows you exactly what he's talking about. They aren't just relying on one market. Their success is a truly global story. Now, what's really interesting when you look at this slide is the breakdown. The Americas really led the pack here with a strong 7% growth. But you've also got this solid, really consistent performance in both Europe and the Asia/rest of world region, both clocking in at 4%. That's the kind of balanced growth that signals real stability. And if we slice it by product line, the story gets even more interesting. So the laboratory and industrial parts had healthy growth, for sure. But look at food retail, a massive 19% jump. Now, the report doesn't spell out exactly why, but you can imagine a surge like that could be from things like new food safety rules or maybe big grocery chains investing in automation. Whatever the reason, it is a huge standout. So, that was a really strong finish to 2025. But what does the company think is coming up for the year ahead? Let's take a look at the forecast. First, let's just put the whole year in perspective. Mettler Toledo wrapped up 2025 with sales topping $4 billion. That's up from about $3.9 billion in 2024. And their adjusted EPS grew to almost $43. This kind of strong year-over-year performance is exactly the momentum they want heading into 2026. And here it is, their guidance for 2026. They're projecting around 4% sales growth, which continues that steady performance we saw. But check out the bottom line. They're forecasting an 8 to 9% growth in adjusted EPS. That signals some real confidence in their ability to keep improving their profit margins. So how are they going to do it? Well, the CEO points to some of the biggest trends shaping the entire global economy right now: automation, digitalization, and companies bringing manufacturing back home. Mettler Toledo's products are perfectly positioned to be the critical tools for businesses making those exact investments.
Okay, we've gone through the company, the results, and the forecast. So let's pull it all together. What's the one clear takeaway here? Why does any of this matter?
You know, when you put it all together, the story of Mettler Toledo's quarter is really one of resilience and having a really smart focus. They ended 2025 on a total high note, showed balanced growth even in a tough environment, and their positive outlook for 2026 isn't just wishful thinking. It's grounded in a super clear strategy to ride these major global trends.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We hear so much about AI, automation, and smart factories these days, right? But none of that stuff works without data. More importantly, it doesn't work without accurate data. And that is exactly where this company lives. So as the world gets smarter and more automated, you just have to ask yourself, how much more essential will the tools of precision become?